think social media has created an environment for people where being a victim is accepted and it's okay. Like, I'm sure you know some of these people, or you at least see them all the time on social media. It's like everything they go and talk about is like, poor me, poor me, poor me. And then they get the dopamine hits because people are liking and commenting on it. So it's like they're reinforcing like that this is actually what people want to hear from me. And it's like, hey, it happened 20 years ago. Do something about it today by taking an action towards who it is you want to become. So yeah, that's something that I'm big on, man, is I think people get caught up in this, like these things happen to me. And like I said, the social media and even some podcasts have just created an environment where it's like, yeah, bring that stuff over here. We're going to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. Yeah. And trust me, I do know that some people have had some horrible, horrible things. I'm not discrediting any of that, but I think most of the trauma, air quoting that people are trying to process or trying to share with social media, it's like, dude, that happened to all of us. If you're a grown adult living in the world today, you have trauma from your past. Get over it, move on, and start taking action on who it is you actually want to become.
Right. I agree. I think there is probably a healthy amount of time you can spend, right? Like looking at some of the stuff that has influenced, some of your current behaviors. But I think you have to continue to move forward, and you can't continue to blame, people in your past, things in your past, like how you grew up, for how you're behaving today. Because that's the thing. I think it's easy for people to use their circumstances and what happened to them as an excuse to behave in whatever way they want, because they can always just point back to that one thing, right? And I think that's where people get into trouble, right? Like you said, like you're not discrediting some horrific things that have happened to people. However, what you're also saying is, your life isn't get any better until you decide to do the work to help move forward, right? In a way that's...
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to go back in time. None of us are Marty McFly. We're not getting into the DeLorean and going back in time and changing what happened in our past. So the question here that we're presented with is, how must we perceive past event to empower us to become the person that we need to be in the future to not allow that to happen again? So it's a matter of reframing your perception of what actually happened to you. I've had a lot of conversations with some amazing trauma experts on the show, and all of them point back to the same unifying thing. Your trauma oftentimes is going to lead you to your greatest calling in life, right? Your trauma of getting addicted to drugs and getting arrested and having to go to prison has set you up to be the catalyst for the biggest thing in your life, which is your mission with the Adversity Advantage podcast. My trauma of being exposed to pornography at 6 years old and learning that it's okay to have secrets set me up now to be in a position where I can speak into men. I can recognize patterns of behavior in men because I've had to walk this journey out all in of myself first. So yeah, a lot of times we're looking at the trauma to create the victim, when in reality, the trauma should create the empowering position within us to then go tackle the world and use that for a source of good instead of using it as a label over us.